The massive space station hung in the cold darkness like a metal city. Kepler Station was bigger than most human colonies. Its spinning rings created gravity for the thousands of aliens who lived and worked inside. Today, it would host the most important meeting in galactic history. Captain John Morrison walked through the station's corridors. His black uniform bore the simple eagle symbol of Earth's United Fleet. Behind him walked Lisa Carter, Earth's top diplomat, and Colonel Frank Davis, their military expert. The three humans looked small next to the alien creatures they passed. A Zephyrian trader towered over them, its 4 arms carrying exotic goods. Its gray skin looked like rough stone, and its eyes were solid black. It clicked something in its own language and kept walking. John knew enough alien speech to understand it was not friendly. They reached the main council chamber. The room was huge, with seats arranged in a perfect circle. Each spot was designed for a different alien species. The human seats looked tiny compared to the others. Ambassador Veltar of the Zephyrian Empire was already seated. His official robes were covered in medals and honors from 1,000 battles. His people had ruled space for 12,000 years. He looked at the humans like they were children who had wandered into an adult meeting. Admiral Crix of the Draconian Empire entered next. His scales were dark red, and his eyes glowed like hot coals. Sharp teeth filled his mouth when he smiled. The Draconians were warriors who had conquered 50 star systems in the last century alone. The Silicon Collective sent Chancellor Thaes. Her body was made of living crystal that changed colors as she moved. The Silicon beings were pure logic and mathematics. They saw everything in terms of numbers and efficiency. Queen Zara of the insectoid hive came with 6 of her worker drones. She was twice the size of a human, with 4 arms and compound eyes that saw in all directions. Her people bred faster than any other species and filled entire planets with their cities. Other alien leaders filled the remaining seats. The Aquatic Federation sent their ambassador in a water suit. The energy beings appeared as floating balls of light. The Machine Collective sent a robot that spoke in electronic tones. John took his seat between Lisa and Frank. Around them, the aliens talked. In their own languages, universal translators turned their words into English, but the tone was clear. They were talking about humans, and they were not impressed. Veltar called the meeting to order. His voice was deep and carried the weight of authority. We gather today to discuss the territorial disputes in the Outer Rim sectors. Some parties have made claims that disturb the established order. He turned his black eyes toward the humans. The species called humans have requested 17 star systems for colonization. This is a significant expansion for such a young race. Admiral Crix laughed, showing his sharp teeth. Young is kind. Humans have been in space for less than 200 years. My people were building starships when yours were still living in caves. The hegemony has maintained galactic peace for 12 millennia. Veltar continued. We have learned that order comes from experience and wisdom. New species often lack both. Chancellor Thaes spoke in her electronic voice. Statistical analysis shows that rapid expansion by younger species leads to conflict 67% of the time. Humans show classic signs of aggressive territorial behavior. Queen Zara's compound eyes focused on John. The hive has observed human colonies. They build weapons first, then farms. This indicates a warlike nature that threatens peaceful coexistence. Lisa. Carter stood up slowly. Her voice was calm and professional. Honorable delegates, humanity comes to this council seeking only fair treatment. We have 17 systems with planets suitable for human life. These worlds are not claimed by any member species. Claimed or not, they lie along established trade routes, Veltar said. Your presence would disrupt commerce that has flowed freely for centuries. Perhaps, Admiral Crix said with another sharp smile. The humans should be satisfied with their current holdings. 3 systems are quite generous for such a primitive species. The alien delegates began to laugh. It started with Crix's low rumble, then spread to the others. Veltar's clicking laughter mixed with This's electronic buzzing. Even the quiet energy beings flickered with what might have been amusement. Frank Davis gripped his chair arm so hard his knuckles turned white. John watched the alien faces with cold blue eyes. Lisa kept her expression neutral, but inside, she was burning with anger. "Your fusion drives are barely adequate for inter-system travel," This said. "Your weapons technology is based on simple kinetics and basic energy projection. How do you expect to maintain 17 systems with such limited resources?" "The logical solution," said the Machine Collective's robot, "is to restrict human expansion to their current territory plus 1 additional system. This allows for population growth while preventing overextension." The laughter grew louder. Veltar raised one of his 4 hands for silence. "The proposal has merit. Humans may keep their 3 current systems and add the agricultural world of New Eden. Beyond this, they will require permission from this council for any expansion." "That is unacceptable," John said, standing up. His voice was quiet but firm. "We came here hoping for fair negotiation between equals." "Equals?" Veltar's laughter was harsh. "Captain Morrison, your entire species could fit on a few of our smaller worlds. Your fleets consist of converted cargo ships with military weapons bolted on. What makes you think you are equal to civilizations that have ruled the stars since before your world had written language?" Admiral Crix leaned forward. Perhaps a demonstration would help the humans understand their position. The Draconian fleet could visit one of their colonies. A training exercise, of course. The threat was clear. John felt Frank tense beside him, ready for a fight that would be over before it started. The aliens in the room represented fleets that numbered in the thousands. Humanity had maybe 50 ships worthy of the name warship. "We understand perfectly," Lisa said. Her voice stayed, level despite the rage building inside her. "You believe might makes right. You think age gives you the authority to decide our fate." "Not belief," Veltar corrected. "Fact. The strong survive in space. The weak serve or disappear. This is the natural order that has kept peace for millennia." Queen Zara spoke for the first time in the meeting. "The Hive offers an alternative. Humans may join us as a client species. You would enjoy our protection and guidance. In return, you would provide workers for our expansion projects." "Slavery," Frank said bluntly. "You are offering us slavery." "Service," Thys corrected. "Beneficial to both parties. Humans gain security. The collective gains useful biological resources." John looked around the circle of alien faces. Some showed amusement, others showed cold calculation. None showed respect or even basic courtesy. These beings saw humanity as a problem to be managed, not equals to be negotiated with. "We came here in good faith," he said finally. "We hoped that wisdom would guide these talks. Instead, we find arrogance and the threat of force." "Wisdom is exactly what guides us," Veltar replied. "The wisdom of ages teaches us that young species must learn their place. Consider our offer carefully, Captain Morrison. Accept limited expansion and our guidance, or face the consequences of overreach." The alien delegates began talking among themselves, dismissing the humans as if they were no longer worth attention. John, Lisa, and Frank sat in their small chairs, surrounded by beings who had already decided humanity's fate. The mockery continued around them, but John's eyes stayed cold and calculating. These aliens thought they knew humanity. They thought humans were weak because they were young. They had no idea how wrong they were about to be. President Kate Sullivan stood at the podium in the United Earth Council chamber. Below her, representatives from every human colony and Earth nation filled the seats. The dome above showed the blue marble of Earth spinning slowly in space. But today, all eyes were on the woman who would decide humanity's future. 3 months ago, our delegation returned from Kepler Station, she began. Her voice carried to every corner of the chamber and across the radio waves to the furthest human settlements. They brought news that should anger every one of us. She paused, letting the weight of her words settle. The alien powers have decided our fate without our consent. They offer us scraps from their table and call it generosity. They threaten our colonies and call it wisdom. The chamber erupted in angry voices. Representatives from Mars shouted protests. The delegates from Alpha Centauri demanded action. Kate raised her hand for silence. Today that changes, she said. For too long, we have hidden our true capabilities. We let them think we were weak because it suited our purposes. The galaxy is about to learn what humans are really capable of. In a secure facility beneath the Swiss Alps, Director Paul Jackson led a small group of officials through corridors that officially did not exist. The signs on the walls read, Terra Defense Initiative, but most people called it the Black Site. This was where humanity's real weapons were born. What you are about to see, Jackson said to the group, has been classified above top secret for 20 years. Project Phoenix represents the combined efforts of our best scientists and engineers. They entered a massive underground hangar. In the center sat a ship that looked nothing like the boxy human vessels the aliens had mocked. This craft was sleek and predatory, its hull made of materials that seemed to bend light around them. The UES Defiance, Jackson said with pride. Quantum fold drives that can cross a star system in minutes. Adaptive armor that learns from each hit and becomes stronger. Plasma weapons that can punch through any known shielding. Dr. Helen Wright stepped forward. She was small and quiet, the kind of person who might be overlooked in a crowd. But she was also the genius who had cracked quantum fold technology, while the aliens still used crude warp drives. We started this project the day after first contact, she explained. Every alien ship we encountered, every piece of technology we could study, every weakness we could identify. We have been learning while they have been laughing. Captain Alex. Turner walked around the Defiance like a pilot checking his fighter before a mission. He had trained for this moment for 5 years, learning to pilot a ship that could do things no alien vessel could match. The neural interface crown on his head linked directly to the ship's AI systems. She responds like part of my own body, he told the group. The AI predicts what I want before I think it. In combat, that edge could mean the difference between victory and death. On the military training world of Sparta, Colonel Sam Rodriguez watched his soldiers practice with equipment that would have been science fiction a decade ago. The Rapid Response Corps wore powered armor that made each trooper stronger than 10 normal humans. Sergeant Kelly Brooks moved through the training course like a ghost. Her armor's adaptive camouflage made her nearly invisible. The heads-up display in her helmet showed her exactly where to aim, when to move, and how to strike for maximum effect. The aliens think we fight like primitives, Rodriguez told his officers. Kinetic weapons and basic tactics. They have never faced soldiers who can think at the speed of light and move like shadows. Lieutenant Danny Walsh demonstrated the new plasma rifle. The weapon could switch between multiple fire modes instantly. Armor-piercing rounds for heavy targets, wide-beam settings for groups of enemies, non-lethal modes for capture operations. Each rifle is linked to the tactical network, he explained. When one soldier spots a target, every other soldier knows about it instantly. We share targeting data, ammunition counts, and tactical updates in real time. In the research stations of Europa, scientists worked on projects that pushed the boundaries of known physics. Dr. Nancy Green had solved the problem of instantaneous communication across vast distances. Her quantum entanglement network could coordinate human forces across multiple star systems without any delay. The aliens still use radio and laser communications, she explained to her team. They deal with light-speed delays in everything they do. Our commanders will be making decisions based on current information, while theirs work with data that is hours or days old. The quantum network also connected to every human ship, station, and colony. Artificial intelligence systems shared. Information and tactical updates continuously. When one human vessel learned something new about alien weaknesses, every other human commander knew about it instantly. Dr. Robert Kane worked on a different kind of project. His team had spent years studying alien psychology and combat tactics. They knew how each species thought, how they made decisions, and most importantly, how they could be beaten. The Zephyrians rely on overwhelming firepower, he briefed a group of human commanders. They expect enemies to either flee or charge straight at them. They have no experience fighting opponents who can appear and disappear at will. The Draconians are warriors, but they fight with honor codes that limit their options. They will not retreat from a fair fight, even when retreat would be the smart choice. We can use that pride against them. The Silicon Collective makes decisions based on pure logic. But logic can be fooled if you feed it the wrong information. Their AI systems will try to predict our actions based on what they think we can do, not what we actually can do. In shipyards hidden throughout the solar system, human workers built vessels that looked like civilian craft but carried military secrets. Cargo ships that could transform into battleships. Mining vessels that concealed advanced weapons. Passenger liners that were really troop transports in disguise. The alien intelligence networks reported what they expected to see. Primitive human ships carrying basic equipment. Slow, clumsy vessels that would be easy targets in any real fight. They had no idea that humanity had been building a war fleet for 20 years. Admiral Lisa Carter stood on the bridge of the UES. Enterprise, humanity's new flagship. The ship was 10 times larger than anything humans had built before, but it still used stealth technology to appear much smaller on alien sensors. The first rule of war, she told her officers, is to know your enemy better than they know themselves. The aliens think we are primitive and weak. They base their plans on false information. When the shooting starts, they will discover how wrong they were. Commander Steve Phillips led the fighter pilot training program. His pilots flew craft so small and fast that alien targeting systems had trouble tracking them. Neural implants. Let them react faster than any biological reflexes could manage. We are not trying to match their numbers, he told his squadron leaders. We are going to be so much better that numbers will not matter. One human pilot will be worth 10 of theirs. In government offices across Earth and the colonies, human leaders made quiet preparations. Supply lines were established. Defense plans were finalized. Civilian populations were moved away from likely battle zones. But most importantly, they waited. The aliens expected humans to beg for mercy or launch a desperate attack. Instead, humanity prepared for war with the patience of a hunter waiting for the perfect moment to strike. President Sullivan ended her speech with words that would be remembered for generations. They think we are children playing at being adults. They believe our youth makes us weak. Today, we begin to teach them that sometimes the student surpasses the teacher. Humanity will not bow to alien arrogance. We will not accept limits placed on us by others. When they test our resolve, they will discover that humans do not break easily. The applause in the council chamber was thunderous. But across human space, in secret facilities and hidden shipyards, the real response was already underway. The storm was gathering, and the aliens had no idea what was coming for them. The Zephyrian war fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Eden Prime system. 200 ships hung in formation like a metal storm cloud. At their head, Admiral Veltar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominion. His 4 arms worked the control panels with practiced ease. Signal the human colony, he ordered his communications officer. Standard surrender terms. They have 1 hour to respond. Through the view screen, Eden Prime looked like a blue and green jewel against the black of space. 50,000 humans lived on the planet below. Veltar had brought enough firepower to turn their world into molten rock. This would be a simple demonstration of alien superiority. On Eden Prime, Governor Rick Stone received the alien message in his office in New Dallas, the the colony's capital city. He was a big man with calloused hands who had helped build the first settlements with his own labor. He read the surrender demand twice, then deleted it. "Send a reply," he told his communications chief. "Tell Admiral Veltar that Eden Prime does not surrender to anyone." The response that reached the Zephyrian fleet was much shorter and contained several words that the Universal Translator struggled to process. Veltar's stone-gray face darkened with anger. "Primitive fools," he muttered. "Begin bombardment. Target their major cities first." The Zephyrian fleet opened fire. Plasma cannons that could melt through solid rock sent streams of superheated energy toward the planet below. The aliens expected to see cities burning and humans fleeing in panic. Instead, the energy beams struck invisible barriers and scattered harmlessly into space. Force fields that no human was supposed to possess protected every major settlement on Eden Prime. "Impossible," Veltar's tactical officer reported. "Their shields are absorbing our full bombardment with no damage." "Increase power," Veltar snapped. "No primitive colony can withstand the full might of the Zephyrian fleet." The bombardment continued for 10 minutes. The aliens poured enough energy at the planet to boil an ocean. The force fields held without even flickering. Veltar was still trying to understand what was happening when space behind his fleet exploded into light. The UES Defiance materialized from Quantum Fold directly behind the Zephyrian formation. Captain Turner's ship had crossed the entire system in minutes, moving faster than any Zephyrian sensor could track. "This is Captain Alex Turner of the United Earth Fleet," came the transmission. "You are ordered to cease hostilities and withdraw from human space immediately." On the Dominion's bridge, Veltar stared at the human ship. It was barely 1/10 the size of his flagship. The idea that such a small vessel would challenge his entire fleet was beyond ridiculous. "Destroy that insignificant craft," he ordered. 50 Zephyrian ships turned their weapons on the Defiance. Plasma cannons and particle beams lanced out to swat the human vessel like an annoying insect. The weapons struck empty space as Turner's ship vanished and reappeared 1,000 kilometers away. "Missed me," Turner said calmly over the communications channel. The Defiance opened fire. Twin plasma cannons that had been designed using captured alien technology sent focused beams of destruction into the Zephyrian formation. The first shot punched completely through a heavy cruiser, splitting it in half. The second reduced a destroyer to expanding gas and metal fragments. Veltar watched 2 of his ships die in as many seconds. The human weapons were impossible. No ship that small could carry cannons powerful enough to destroy Zephyrian vessels with single shots. "All ships converge on the human craft," he ordered. "Surround it and destroy it." The Zephyrian fleet moved to surround the Defiance, but Turner's ship refused to cooperate. The Quantum Fold drive let it appear anywhere in the battle zone instantly. It would materialize behind a group of alien ships, destroy several with precise shots, then vanish before return fire could reach it. On Eden Prime, Colonel Rodriguez watched the space battle through the colony's defense center monitors. "Time to join the party," he told his staff. "Launch all fighters." The planet's surface opened in dozens of places as concealed hangars revealed their contents. Small, fast human fighters swarmed into space like angry wasps. Each pilot wore a neural interface that let them react at superhuman speeds. Lieutenant Amy Brooks led Red Squadron toward the alien fleet. Her fighter was so small that Zephyrian targeting computers dismissed it as debris. The aliens learned their mistake when her plasma cannons carved through their shield generators. "Fox 1! She called as she destroyed a Zephyrian frigate. "These aliens are not as tough as they pretend to be." Commander Phillips led the fighter. Attack with cold precision. His pilots moved in perfect coordination, sharing targeting data through their neural links. They struck alien weak points that no individual pilot should have been able to identify. The Zephyrian fleet found itself fighting an enemy that seemed to be everywhere at once. Human fighters appeared from impossible angles. The Defiance materialized and vanished like a ghost ship. Every human weapon hit with deadly accuracy while alien return fire struck empty space. Veltar tried to regain control of the battle, but his communications were being jammed by technology he did not recognize. His ships could not coordinate their attacks. Individual captains made their own decisions, usually the wrong ones. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "we have lost 47 ships. The humans have lost none." "How is that possible?" Veltar demanded. "They are primitives with basic technology." The answer came as the Defiance appeared directly in front of the Dominion. Turner's ship was tiny compared to the massive Zephyrian flagship, but size meant nothing when plasma cannons could cut through any armor. "Admiral Veltar!" Turner's voice came over the communication system. "This is your final warning. Surrender now or be destroyed." "Never," Veltar snarled. "The Zephyrian Empire does not surrender to humans." The Dominion's main guns fired at point-blank range. Enough energy to level a city struck the Defiance head-on. When the light faded, Turner's ship hung undamaged in space. Adaptive armor had absorbed the impact and strengthened itself for the next attack. "My turn," Turner said quietly. The Defiance fired once. A single plasma beam struck the Dominion's main reactor. The massive ship shuddered as power failed throughout its hull. Life support died. Artificial gravity shut down. In seconds, the pride of the Zephyrian fleet became a floating wreck. On the planet below, Zephyrian drop pods began their assault. The aliens expected to face farmers and miners armed with hunting rifles. Instead, they met Rodriguez's rapid response. Corpse Sergeant Brooks moved through the landing zone like a shadow. Her powered armor made no sound as she approached the alien positions. The heads-up display in her helmet marked enemy locations and suggested optimal attack routes. The Zephyrians never saw her coming. Plasma rifle fire cut through their ranks before they could react. When they tried to return fire, she was already gone, moving to the next target with inhuman speed. "Contact front," reported Lieutenant Walsh over the tactical network. 50 aliens, probably a full assault company. Engaging now." His squad hit the Zephyrian formation from 3 directions at once. Human weapons switched between fire modes automatically. Armor-piercing rounds for heavy targets. Area effect blasts for grouped enemies. Non-lethal settings for prisoners. The aliens had trained to fight other aliens. They expected enemies who moved like they did, thought like they did, and used familiar tactics. Humans fought like nothing they had ever encountered. The battle for Eden Prime lasted 4 hours. When it ended, the Zephyrian fleet was scattered wreckage drifting in space. Less than 30 alien ships escaped to hyperspace. Admiral Veltar sat in a human prison cell aboard his own disabled flagship. Governor Stone stood in his office, looking up at the night sky where the battle had raged. Human fighters were returning to their hidden hangars. The Defiance hung in orbit like a guardian angel. "Send a message to Earth," he told his communications chief. "Tell them Eden Prime is secure. The aliens learned their first lesson today." The news of humanity's victory spread through the galaxy like wildfire. Alien governments that had dismissed humans as primitives suddenly faced an impossible truth. The weakest species in known space had just destroyed a major fleet with minimal losses. In the council chambers of a dozen worlds, alien leaders gathered in emergency sessions. The humans they had mocked 6 months ago were now a threat that could not be ignored. Admiral Crix of the Draconian Empire stood before his war council. "Gather the fleet," he ordered. "Every ship, every weapon, every warrior. If the humans want a war, we will give them one they will never forget." But in human space, Captain Turner filed his battle report with quiet satisfaction. The first test was over. Humanity had proven that alien arrogance was no match for human determination and superior technology. The galaxy was about to learn that laughing at humans had been a very serious mistake. The combined alien fleet gathered at the edge of the Wolf 359 system like a storm about to break. Over 1,000 ships from 3 different empires hung in perfect formation. Admiral Crix commanded from his massive dreadnought, the Bloodfang. This was the largest military force assembled in galactic history. "Today we crush the human pest once and for all," Crix announced to his fleet commanders. "They may have surprised the Zephyrians, but they face the combined might of 3 empires." Now, Chancellor Thias of the Silicon Collective added her cold logic to the discussion. Statistical analysis confirms victory probability at 97%. Human forces cannot exceed 50 vessels based on known industrial capacity. Queen Zara's image flickered on the communication screen from her hive ship. The swarm agrees. Humans showed clever tricks at Eden Prime, but tricks cannot defeat overwhelming numbers. What the aliens did not know was that human scouts had been watching their gathering for weeks. Every ship movement, every tactical discussion, every strategic plan had been recorded and transmitted back to Earth through quantum communication networks. Admiral Lisa Carter stood on the bridge of the UES Enterprise, humanity's new flagship. Around her, holographic displays showed the alien fleet in perfect detail. She knew exactly what she was facing and had planned accordingly. "Signal all ships," she ordered. "Execute Battle Plan Omega. Let them see what humans can really do." The Enterprise was 5 times larger than the Defiance, but it still used advanced stealth technology to confuse alien sensors. To Crix's instruments, it looked like just another converted cargo hauler. The alien admiral had no idea he was facing humanity's most advanced warship. Commander Steve Phillips prepared his fighter squadrons aboard the carrier UES Yorktown. His pilots had trained for this moment for months. Neural implants linked them directly to their ship's AI systems. Enhanced reflexes let them think and react faster than any alien pilot could match. "Remember," he told his squadron leaders, "we are not trying to match their numbers. We are going to be so much better that numbers will not matter." Red Squadron launched first. 24 fighters that were almost too small for alien sensors to track. Each pilot flew with computer-assisted precision that made every shot count. They moved between the massive alien ships like sparks dancing around giants. Lieutenant Danny Brooks rolled her fighter through a gap between 2 Draconian cruisers. Her plasma cannons fired in perfect sequence, hitting critical systems with surgical precision. Behind her, the alien ships began to list as their power systems failed. "Splash 2, she reported calmly. "Moving to next target." The alien fleet tried to respond, but human tactics had evolved far beyond anything they understood. Quantum fold drives let human ships appear anywhere in the battle zone instantly. They would materialize behind alien formations, deliver devastating attacks, then vanish before return fire could reach them. Dr. Green's quantum communication network linked every human vessel in real time. When one ship identified an alien weakness, every other human commander knew about it instantly. The aliens struggled with light-speed communication delays while humans shared tactical data at the speed of thought. Captain Kevin Murphy commanded the destroyer UES Constitution. His ship was half the size of most alien vessels, but it carried weapons that had been designed using captured technology from a dozen different species. "Target their command ship," he ordered his weapons officer. "Let us see how tough Draconian armor really is." The Constitution's main gun fired once. The plasma beam struck the Bloodfang's shields and punched straight through without slowing down. The blast tore through 3 decks before Admiral Crix's damage control teams could even respond. "Impossible," Crix snarled from his damaged bridge. "No weapon that small can penetrate our shields." "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "the human weapons are adapting to our defenses in real time. They are learning our shield frequencies and adjusting their fire accordingly." Crix watched his display in growing horror as human ships tore through his formation like wolves among sheep. Every alien vessel that fired at the humans hit empty space. Every human shot found its target with deadly accuracy. the Silicon Collective, tried to use pure logic to counter human tactics. Their AI systems analyzed human attack patterns and predicted where the next strike would come. But human commanders used randomized assault protocols that made prediction impossible. Chancellor Thys watched her carefully calculated battle plans fall apart. "This is not logical," she transmitted to her fleet. "Humans cannot possess technology superior to our own." The answer came as a dozen human ships materialized around her command vessel. The Crystal Mind was the most advanced ship in the Silicon Fleet, protected by adaptive shields and quantum armor. It lasted exactly 47 seconds under concentrated human fire. Queen Zara's hive ships relied on overwhelming numbers and biological weapons. Her fighter swarms could darken space with their sheer quantity. But quantity meant nothing against quality when human pilots could think and react at superhuman speeds. Lieutenant Colonel Rodriguez led the Marine assault on the hive ship Queen's Glory. His powered armor troops cut through alien defenders like a hot knife through butter. Adaptive camouflage made them nearly invisible. Enhanced strength let them tear through bulkheads with their bare hands. "Deck 7 secured," he reported as his team advanced toward the bridge. "Alien resistance is collapsing." The Queen herself waited in her command chamber, surrounded by her largest warrior drones. She had been bred for combat over millions of years of evolution. But evolution was no match for human technology and determination. Rodriguez's assault rifle fired on full automatic. Plasma bolts cut through the alien warriors like paper. When his ammunition ran low, the weapons switched to backup power cells automatically. The heads-up display in his helmet marked weak points in alien anatomy with perfect precision. Captain Turner brought the Defiance into the heart of the alien formation. His ship moved like a dancer, appearing and vanishing faster than alien gunners could track. Each time it materialized, alien ships died. "This is for Admiral Veltar," Turner said as he destroyed a Zephyrian battlecruiser. "And this is for thinking humans were weak," he added, vaporizing a draconian destroyer. The alien fleet tried every tactic they knew, mass formations that human ships cut apart with surgical precision, coordinated attacks that failed when humans simply were not where the aliens expected them to be, retreat maneuvers that turned into routes when human pursuit forces appeared ahead of the fleeing ships. Admiral Carter watched the battle unfold from the Enterprise's command center. Holographic displays showed the complete destruction of alien resistance in real time. Not a single human ship had been lost, while alien casualties mounted into the hundreds. "Signal the remaining alien vessels," she ordered. "Offer them one chance to surrender." Admiral Crix received the transmission on his crippled flagship. Around him, emergency lights flickered as his crew fought to keep basic systems running. Through the static-filled view screen, he could see the burning wrecks of his mighty fleet. "This is Admiral Lisa Carter of the United Earth Fleet," came the calm voice. "You came here to destroy humanity. Instead, you have learned what happens when you underestimate us. Surrender now, and your surviving crews will be treated according to galactic law." Crix looked around his shattered bridge. His weapons were offline. His shields had failed. His engines were dead. The pride of 3 empires had been reduced to floating scrap in less than 6 hours. "I am Admiral Crix of the Draconian Empire," he transmitted back. "I surrender my fleet to your superior forces." The words tasted like poison in his mouth, but he had no choice. The humans had proven beyond doubt that they were not the primitive species the galaxy had believed them to be. On Earth, President Sullivan received the battle reports in her office. The impossible had happened twice now. Human forces had defeated overwhelming alien numbers with minimal losses. "Send a message to every government in the galaxy," she told her staff. "Tell them that humanity is ready to discuss new terms for galactic peace. But this time, we negotiate as equals." News of the Battle of Wolf 359 spread through the galaxy like a shockwave. The 3 most powerful military forces in known space had been destroyed by a species that was supposed to be primitive and weak. In council chambers across dozens of worlds, alien leaders gathered in emergency sessions. The humans they had laughed at were now the dominant military power in the galaxy. The balance of power had shifted completely in less than a year. Dr. Wright stood in her laboratory on Luna, watching the news broadcasts from across human space. Her quantum fold drives had made victory possible. Her adaptive weapons had punched through alien defenses like they were made of paper. "They called us primitive," she said to her assistant. "They forgot that primitive minds are not afraid to try new ideas." The age of alien dominance was ending. Humanity had risen from the bottom of the galactic hierarchy to the top in a single, crushing victory. The species that had been mocked for their youth and inexperience now commanded the respect that came from proven strength. The galaxy would never underestimate humans again. The council chamber aboard Kepler Station looked exactly the same as it had 8 months earlier. The same circular arrangement of seats, the same holographic displays, the same view of the planet turning slowly below. But everything else had changed completely. Admiral Lisa Carter walked into the chamber wearing the dark blue uniform of the United Earth Fleet. Behind her came Dr. Carol Martinez, Earth's new Secretary of Galactic Affairs, and General Frank Davis, now commander of all human military forces. The three humans moved with quiet confidence that had not been there before. The alien delegates were already seated, but they looked very different from the proud beings who had mocked humanity months earlier. Admiral Crix sat with his scaled, head bowed, his once bright armor dulled and dented. Former Admiral Veltar wore simple gray robes instead of his ceremonial regalia. Chancellor Thias flickered between colors rapidly, a sign of stress in Silicon collective beings. Queen Zara had brought only 2 attendants instead of her usual swarm of drones. The other alien representatives sat in uncomfortable silence. President Sullivan appeared as a hologram above the central table. Her image was clear and steady, transmitted through humanity's quantum communication network from Earth itself. When she spoke, her words carried the authority of a species that had proven its strength beyond question. 8 months ago, our delegation came to this station seeking fair treatment, she began. You responded with mockery and threats. You told us to accept limits placed on us by others. Today we are here to discuss new terms. The silence in the chamber was complete. No alien delegate dared to interrupt or object. They had learned the cost of underestimating humanity. The Terran Federation claims full sovereignty over all systems currently under human control, Sullivan continued. We also claim the right to expand into any unclaimed territory that suits our needs. No alien government will restrict human growth or movement. Chancellor Thiss spoke carefully, her electronic voice showing none of its former arrogance. The Silicon Collective acknowledges human territorial claims. We request only that trade agreements remain in place. Trade will continue, Dr. Martinez replied, but on equal terms. Humanity will not accept unfavorable exchange rates or restricted access to galactic markets. Queen Zara leaned forward in her seat. The Hive wishes to establish formal diplomatic relations with the human government. We offer technology exchange and mutual defense agreements. It was a complete reversal from her earlier offer to make humans into client workers. Now she was asking for humanity's protection instead of offering to dominate them. Admiral Carter stood and activated a holographic display. It showed the current military balance in the galaxy. Human fleets now controlled key strategic positions throughout known space. The alien powers that had once seemed invincible were reduced to regional forces. Military cooperation is possible, Carter said, but under human command structure, any joint operations will follow Earth Fleet protocols and procedures. Former Admiral Crix finally spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. The Draconian Empire accepts these terms. We ask only for honorable treatment of our prisoners and wounded. The once proud warrior looked like a broken man. His entire fleet had been destroyed in 6 hours of combat. The warrior culture that had defined his people for millennia had been shattered by human technological superiority. Dr. Martinez opened a datapad and began reading from humanity's formal demands. Each point was non-negotiable, backed by the military force that had destroyed 3 major fleets. First, the establishment of the Galactic Protection Council. This body will prevent powerful species from exploiting weaker ones. Humanity will provide the military force to enforce these protections. Second, open trade policies that give all species equal access to galactic markets. No more preferential treatment for established powers. Third, technology sharing agreements that allow younger species to develop without artificial restrictions. Fourth, the creation of neutral zones where developing civilizations can grow without interference from galactic powers. Each demand struck at the heart of the old system that had kept alien empires in power for thousands of years. But the aliens had no choice except to accept. Their fleets were destroyed, their confidence shattered, their assumptions about galactic order proven wrong. Veltar raised one of his 4 hands. The Zephyrian Empire agrees to these terms. But we must ask, how did your species advance so rapidly? Our intelligence showed primitive technology and limited capabilities. Admiral Carter smiled, the same cold expression that had been on Captain Morrison's face during the original peace talks. You saw what we wanted you to see. While you were laughing at our fusion drives, we were perfecting quantum fold technology. While you mocked our kinetic weapons, we were building plasma cannons that could cut through any armor. But how? Chancellor, Theus asked. Our projections showed human advancement following normal development curves, Dr. Martinez answered with quiet pride. You made the mistake of thinking like old civilizations. You became comfortable with your technology and stopped innovating. Humans never stopped learning, never stopped improving, never stopped pushing the boundaries of what was possible. Every alien ship we encountered, we studied. Every piece of technology we could access, we improved. Every weakness we observed, we prepared to exploit. You thought age meant wisdom, but sometimes youth means freedom from old assumptions. President Sullivan's hologram turned to address the entire assembly. The old galactic order is finished. It was built on the idea that might makes right, that age grants authority, that young species should serve older ones. That system failed because it ignored a basic truth about humanity. We do not accept limits placed on us by others. We do not bow to threats or intimidation. When pushed, we push back harder than anyone expects. The alien delegates listened in stunned silence. The species they had dismissed as primitive children had not only defeated them militarily, but was now rebuilding galactic civilization according to human principles. Captain Turner entered the chamber carrying a case of documents. He had been promoted to Admiral after his victories at Eden Prime and Wolf 359. His presence reminded everyone of humanity's proven military capabilities. The treaty documents are ready for signature, he announced. Earth fleet vessels are standing by to escort diplomatic missions to their home worlds. The escort offer was polite but carried an obvious threat. Human ships would be watching to ensure compliance with the new agreements. One by one, the alien representatives signed the documents that formalized humanity's rise to galactic leadership. Each signature represented the end of an empire that had dominated space for millennia. As the ceremony concluded, Admiral Carter approached the viewing port that looked out at the stars. Mixed fleets of human and alien vessels patrolled together, but under human command. The age of alien dominance was over. Dr. Wright's voice came over the chamber's communication system from her laboratory on Luna. Admiral Carter, the Quantum Fold Network is now operational throughout known space. We can coordinate galactic defense from Earth in real time. The technology that had won humanity's wars would now keep the peace. Any species that threatened the new order would face the combined might of human fleets that could appear anywhere in the galaxy within hours. General Davis reviewed security reports from across human space. All colonial worlds report normal status. The Rapid Response Corps has established training facilities on 15 different worlds. Local defense forces are being equipped with human technology. The message was clear. Humanity would not only defend its own territory, but would protect any species that asked for help against aggressors. As the alien delegates prepared to leave Kepler Station, many of them looked back at the humans with expressions of wonder and fear. They had learned that youth did not mean weakness, that size did not determine strength, and that the loudest voice in the room was not always the most powerful. President Sullivan's final words echoed through the chamber as her hologram faded. The galaxy laughed when we asked for respect. Today, we have earned something more valuable. We have earned peace through strength, and that peace will protect every species that chooses to live under the principles of justice and equality. The new galactic order had begun. Humanity stood at its center, not as conquerors, but as protectors. The species that had been mocked for their youth and inexperience now shaped the future of an entire galaxy. In the years that followed, alien. Historians would study the rise of humanity as the most dramatic shift in galactic power ever recorded. They would note that humans succeeded not through brutality or domination, but by refusing to accept the limitations others tried to place on them. The laughter had stopped. In its place came respect, cooperation, and hope for a future where strength served justice instead of oppression. The age of human ascendancy had truly begun.